Because I support the ethical use of clickbait, I will now answer the question in the title of the video. This is how. 1. By rapping in a way that commands attention. 2. By rhyming in a way that holds attention and draws listeners in. 3. By writing your lyrics in a way that expresses thoughts and ideas with cohesive continuity. This is how you tangibly maximize your chances of becoming rich and famous through rapping and rhyming, because these three attributes will put you ahead of 90% of rappers. Now, I said tangibly because unfortunately I cannot make you any taller, I cannot make you any prettier, and I apologize for that, but I can make you a better rapper or songwriter. Stay tuned if you want to learn how. 1. Are you a rapper or a songwriter who's struggling to get your music acknowledged? 2. When you do manage to capture attention, do you fail to hold it and keep your listeners' interest? 3. And what about coherence? As you listen back, do you find that your lyrics lack logic and consistency, or miss the mark entirely when trying to make your points or tell your stories? If you can relate to anything I just mentioned, then by the end of this video, you will know the answer to how to write raps at the highest level, how to capture attention with your rhymes, how to hold attention when reciting your lyrics, and how to cleverly fill your coherence gaps with clarifying metaphors and vivid imagery. And you're probably wondering, why should I listen to you? And that's a damn fine question. Thank you for asking. Check it. These are steps 4 and 5 of my 5-step, monumentally easy, multisyllabic rhyming process. Step 4, riddle them. Now go through the alphabet, A through Z, plucking thoughts and ideas from your brain that end in phonetically similar ways to the statement you chose in step 2. For instance, Keanu Reeves, A, around her knees, B, beyond the trees, C, canonically, all the way down to Z. Step 5, talk your shit. And now that you have a whole list of creative sound scheme abiding remarks, it's time to talk some shit. By using those remarks, the thoughts and ideas you came up with in step 4, to construct lines of rhymes that tell a story. Panties lowered around her knees while she squatted beyond the trees. I was dressed as Keanu Reeves playing lookout while Donna peeped, but just then it had dawned on me. Shouldn't she be wetting my wick if I'm playing John? I'm just thinking canonically. That was my credibility. Your average verse is 16 bars long. That was just 4 lines. 4 times shorter than a 16-bar verse. Not a lot of lyrical real estate to work with. And yet, without even taking it seriously, that playful demonstration was lyrically packed with resourceful, multisyllabic storytelling proof that this guy can irrefutably deliver on the promise he's making in this video. But because I know who I'm dealing with, here is even more proof that you, my friend, are in good lyrical hands. So he's burning one of his 3 just to put me onto these. A name like Fettuccine made me wonder what he had in mind until a hunk of meat was sliding up under my feet. He said to Fettuccine his Alfredo wouldn't pass him by. Writers are burdened with the task of keeping readers engaged. If eyes lead to the soul, I want her feet on my page. To reach your dancer Tweedletoes to edge out chapters of my prose to pearly anklets cuff my dark soul keeper of flames. I'd say I'm feeling kinda marvelous, just wrestle with the grapples worth of tushy. Once haggard for resources, now I stuff my chest with sushi. Throw me out and off my game, I'm slinging pipe while taking names. And since Felicia's on your team, I'm grabbing cap, come out the pussy. You don't want it with me, young, and I'm shooting out of my rank. Bullets to deposit, let's shoot it out at the bank. I got a mercy in my pocket, I'll shoot it out with a tank. Angel of mercy in my pocket, I'm coming back if you yank me from this motor coil. Please disregard the lack of studio production quality. I don't have one. I also do not live alone, so any performances are constrained by my need to keep my voice down. But notice how every line has a purpose, beyond only making sure that the words rhyme. There's a clarifying continuity to everything being said. Just imagine what your Sweet 16s will look like once you too have learned what was taught to me. So let's begin by diagnosing the problems. 1. When you're struggling to be heard as a rapper, the answer isn't to rap louder. The answer is to make your rhymes more appealing, more attractive, more magnetic. This way, you infuse your lyrics with attention-grabbing appeal. We'll go over how to do that once we're done delineating the problem. 2. When you're failing to keep that attention, in the event you do capture it, It's typically because your lyrics are lacking in logic and consistency, which is a matter of the next problem. 3. Coherence. When someone standing next to you is speaking loudly enough for you to clearly hear them, but in a foreign language, you would eventually tune them out, assuming they weren't speaking melodically or in a musical way. That's because you don't know who they're talking to, nor do you understand what they're even talking about, so you just don't care. And these are the smaller problems that contribute to the bigger problem of you not receiving the acknowledgement and musical opportunities and advancement that you feel you deserve. Now take all these problems, rhymes recited in a way that don't pull the listener in, lyrics that erratically drag the listener all over the place without explanation, and statements that don't form a point or arrive at a clear conclusion. Add them all up, what are you left with? Some trash-ass raps. From an artist who probably has an amazing story to tell us, full of body-rocking inspiration and excitement, but we would never know it. Because he's shooting himself in the foot and sabotaging his musical potential with shoddy writing ability. Check this out. It's not the thing, it's the thing behind the thing. Have you ever heard that before? Let me show you what I mean. Buying a pack of chewing gum, a thing, is not just about having long-lasting fresh breath. It's much deeper than that. It's all about the benefits that having the minty fresh breath can lead to. The things behind the thing. For example, because my breath doesn't smell offensive, I need not hesitate to step into the social zone of a new acquaintance. Hello, how do you do? It's nice to meet you. My name is Q. This is nearness. Because my breath didn't smell like leftover broccoli, upon meeting this person, my nearness with them has granted me greater access to a deeper connection with them, ultimately resulting in togetherness. Because my breath didn't smell like ass cheeks when we first met, our recurring events of togetherness resulting from the connection that I was able to build with them through my nearness has led to such a degree of intimacy with this person that they now invite me to partake of opportunities, professional or otherwise, which I never would have been considered for in the first place had my preparedness with my chewing gum and my fresh breath not allowed me to position myself to become more pleasantly familiar with them from the start. And all of this opportunity from a piece of candy, the things behind the thing. When you take the time to think about the relationship potential or hidden windows of opportunity behind something as simple as having fresh breath, you can suddenly imagine chewing gum costing 10 times more than it does now and still not being overpriced. But why am I talking about all of this? Because the opportunity implications behind leveling up your pen game and gift wrapping your raps to get your rhymes in order are exponentially more detrimental. If something as simple as chewing gum can even determine who you end up having kids with, then imagine what getting ahead as a rap star can do for you, in and out of the realm of music. And not only for you, but for the people connected to you. This is why getting better at writing rhymes isn't just getting better at writing rhymes. Nah, the ripple effect behind that is why Jay-Z, Eminem, and Wayne are where they are and what they became in life overall, not just in hip-hop. This means, ultimately, the danger in not improving your lyrical approach and continuing to lag behind the crowds in this unforgiving, fly-by-night industry is taking too long to change people's minds about you, about your artistic merit, and about your rap excellence. Effectively cementing yourself as just another dime a dozen rapper who's not worth paying attention to. And as far as living with regrets go, that is a wound that will never heal. I mean, even if Eminem was wrong about getting only one shot, just how many of them do you think are in the chamber? And why even run the risk of not taking your shot now? Now that we're clear on the problems preventing your growth and the consequences of leaving these problems unaddressed, unresolved, what exactly are the solutions to the roadblocks we've discussed so far? Well, firstly, when it comes to anything occurring under the sun, whatever we do here on Earth, especially within a civilization, money has a funny way of indicating to us, in hindsight, the more streamlined or optimal way something can be done or executed upon. For instance, when one item sells wildly more units in one location than in another location, and both these locations are equally populated, then the people marketing the product are going to lean more heavily against the marketing attempts that sold more than against the marketing attempts that sold less. In other words, money, by way of units sold, shows us, in hindsight, how to optimize our marketing for maximum profit. And with regards to that, when it comes to verbal communication, the written and spoken word can be optimized in very much the same way. Concepts like alliteration, rhyming, rhythm, emphasis versus monotony, and even melody have shown themselves to galvanize the written and spoken word with a catchy charm, magnetic mystique, and memorable appeal, which basically means how a message is worded, written, and spoken will determine how the reader or listener will respond and comply with that message, even how likely they are to remember the message as well. The verbal and oral conformity of rhyming is a phonetically charming pattern interruption. It causes us to chime in and focus more attentively on what we're hearing. Kind of like when Peter Parker's spidey senses start tingling. Which is why we are frustrated whenever someone's attempt at rhyming falls short. We feel betrayed by that fumble. However, when it's executed properly, we are pleased and desire more of it. This reward is further amplified when rhyming is applied repetitiously. In other words, as pleasant as the phrase cat in a hat, a monosyllabic rhyme, is to the senses, its phonetic charm and persuasive influence cannot compare with. Once you feed her mounds of kush, you can tease around her tush, squeeze her feet and pound and push, now you may beat around her bush. Multisyllabic rhymes. So your job as a rapper and songwriter is to curate your rhymes, i.e. your message, in such a way that people are not only drawn to your songs because of how the words sound, but also because they were written line by line to repeatedly reward the listener with hits of dopamine for every bar of your verse. You know that highly anticipated crowd-pleasing drop that dance and electronic music builds itself up to? Your songwriting ability, if you care about money and the mass appeal of your music, your songwriting ability should be simulating that addictive dopaminergic drop at a recurring bar for bar level. When you can write like this, you'll not only command attention, but you'll also keep it by having listeners anticipate every syllable of your rhymes. This will effectively kill two birds, attention getting and attention holding, with one stone. You can achieve this in your songwriting by closely matching the syllables of your latest bar with the syllables of the bar that preceded it. Example: 10 minutes of attention, a dinner served to Satan, belittled into waiting. Come hither was her statement tonight. You notice how you're anticipating the next syllable? When it hits, you're pleased, you're rewarded. But if I were to leave you hanging on one of these, it would be frustrating. Bus a bus, deliver it with haste and eliminate crustaceans. Favor the bold like fortune. Godzilla's on vacation. Jigga Man, humbled into amazement. Identical relations. Jigga Man's flow was taken. Knowledgeable. You see, I screwed it up just now. You notice that screw up irked the hell out of you, didn't it? Knowledgeable of Asians. This is an example of what I'm talking about. This is what I'm getting at, you see? Because the degree to which it is annoying when you fumble the ball here when you mess up the delivery is the degree to which you are pleased, and the crowd is pleased, and the audience is pleased, and your listeners are pleased when you manage to nail it all down the right way for optimal magnetic effect. For clarification, these lines in and of themselves are not lyrics, but in the event that you chose to use them, they form the bedrock that your storytelling lyrics would stand upon. When it comes to reciting and performing those lyrics, however, you'll need to pace, enunciate, emphasize, and modulate your voice in accordance with how you've written your multisyllabic rhymes, and in a way that is conducive to melody if you want to maximize the memorability of your music overall. That's because melody makes messages more memorable. Melody makes messages more memorable. Additionally, isn't it curiously strange, unfair even, that the very same joke which brought the house down when one comedian told it can be fumbled into a crash and burn when someone else tells it verbatim, but without the proper pacing, emphasis, and attention given to the punchline? That's all about delivery, and it works the same way for rappers. Now, while that covers problems 1 and 2, getting attention, keeping attention, we have ourselves a different kind of snafu to deal with here. For number 3, if catchiness grabs attention, and the way to maintain it is to charge our songwriting with multisyllabic magnetism, then tackling the coherence problem has just become 3 times more difficult. Why? Well, for those unaware, the more you conform your songwriting approach to result in multisyllabic rhyme schemes for mass musical appeal and optimal success, the more demanding and challenging it becomes to communicate thoughts and ideas logically and consistently, because doing so requires specificity, whereas rhyming requires generalization. Thus, these requirements pull you, the songwriter, in opposite directions. So you end up in a tug of war with yourself over clarity and coherence, thereby compounding the very problem which we set out to address in the first place. In other words, by addressing the other 2 problems, capturing the listener and keeping them listening, we've made the third one, the demand for coherence, even worse. And the best way to patch this hole is through your metaphorical creativity. Metaphors and similes allow you to connect the dots with imagery where clarity and consistency would otherwise be lacking in the communication of your thoughts and ideas. Because metaphors have a way of boiling complexity down into simplicity for the majority to understand. I'll say that again. Because metaphors have a way of boiling complexity down into simplicity for the majority to understand. But what if you're not a creative person? What if you feel like there isn't a creative bone in your body? If you can't plug incoherence with creative metaphoric flexibility, are you asked out? No, my friend, you're not. Because submitting to my multisyllabic system has the metaphorical creativity built into the framework itself. In other words, by following my framework, you'll end up being lyrical even by accident. What's the framework, you're probably asking? Well, simply put, and this is a freebie, I charge for the full system. And yes, it's very expensive. But simply, you go through the alphabet, A through Z, and come up with 24 statements, claims, remarks, etc., of equal length that orally resemble each other. Songwriting wise, this exercise will plant your feet on the most promising foundation with respect to multisyllabic demand, as well as the subsequent demand for coherence. And you just utilize that pool of resources to construct the entirety or portions of your verses. Example, how would you qualify to become a rap star tomorrow? By learning my new and easy 5-step multisyllabic rhyming system today. Step 1, get moody. Use your current mood or your most colorful emotion as a lens. Step 2, get loud. Now write one statement about literally anything, for instance, your favorite Keanu Reeves movie, using that lens to filter your thoughts and ideas through. If your most colorful emotion is anger, like the Hulk, color every thought in rage. I myself am going with curiosity. Step 3. Pop the trunk. Take note of the last 3 to 4 syllables of your chosen statement. More specifically, their sequence of vowel sounds. Step 4. Riddle them. Now go through the alphabet, A through Z, plucking thoughts and ideas from your brain that end in phonetically similar ways to the statement you chose in step 2. For instance, Keanu Reeves, A, around her knees, B, beyond the trees, C, canonically, all the way down to Z. Step 5. Talk your shit. And now that you have a whole list of creative sound scheme abiding remarks, it's time to talk some shit. By using those remarks, the thoughts and ideas you came up with in step 4, to construct lines of rhymes that tell a story. Panties lowered around her knees while she squatted beyond the trees. I was dressed as Keanu Reeves playing lookout while Donna peeped, but just then it had dawned on me. Shouldn't she be wetting my wick if I'm playing John? I'm just thinking canonically. And there you have it. Those solutions are how these highly prevalent songwriting problems within hip hop, even among the majority of rappers, can be addressed and resolved in order to level up your lyrical ability so you can make the most of your musical opportunities for growth and success, and maximize your potential to reach fame and fortune through rap star power. I will now address the elephant in the room. If these lessons are so conducive to fame and fortune by way of rap excellence, why then are you not a widely known and respected rapper? Simple. I was born sick enough to be considered legally disabled. And the condition I was born with, sickle cell anemia, robs a man of his physical strength. It does a lot more than that, by the way. I'm giving you the simple rundown. A man robbed of his physical strength is a man robbed of autonomy, his ability to self-govern. A man robbed of autonomy will be a 40-year-old living with his parents. But had I been cured of my condition much sooner than in my late 30s, I could have gone back to when I was chasing stardom in my late teens, early 20s. And these are the very skills I would be implementing to pursue that limelight. But instead, I'm now sharing it with you. Not all of it will be given away for free, though. I do need to eat. Now, for many people, adhering to those fixes may not be the most intuitive measures to take for improving at this craft. That's understandable, because addressing them will not only require some degree of effort, but also a feedback loop that isn't immediate, which can make it hard to know what to scrap, what to keep, and when you're actually doing something right. But fortunately, for the right candidates, I'm offering a brand new framework that systemizes every aspect of this multisyllabic songwriting approach, embodying all previously mentioned areas of skill: capturing attention, keeping attention, delivery, bridging the gaps of coherence, and more, in 5 easy steps, and making rhyming so approachable, even a newbie can be spitting at the professional level literally overnight. That means a system for coming up with catchy, flowing, multisyllabic rhyme schemes charged with magnetic charm and built-in metaphorical appeal. These are the tangible attributes that make high-level rappers high-level rappers, all in 5 easy steps. And if that interests you, click the link in the description below this video. Now, the overachievers in the audience would have noticed from the very beginning that I have some wordplay tricks up my sleeve, which I have yet to cover in any of these songwriting lessons. That's because this video won't be touching on the magic of wordplay, punchlines, and double entendres. But if you would like for me to make a video about that, drop a comment mentioning it below. Rap is many people's best and some people's only shot at becoming rich and famous. If God gave you a voice, may these songwriting lessons function as a vehicle for you to put it to exceptional use. God bless and Godspeed.